Hello everyone, once again welcome back to my channel MARINOLOGY. So talking on my channel is all about merchant navy, marine engineering, nautical science, engine department and tech department. And yeah guys, before going on to the video, if you have not subscribed my channel, do subscribe my channel and press on the bell icon for future notification. So in this video we are going to check out turbocharger versus supercharger, advantage and disadvantage and basic principle of both. Yeah guys, before going further to the video, I would like to introduce a blog known as MARINOLOGY. This MARINOLOGY blog is really useful for university examination as well as for MBA examination. Guys, check out this particular blog in my description below. It will be really helpful for you guys. So guys, let's go to the video and check out what it is all about. Most students and most engineers don't know the basic difference between turbocharger and supercharger. Sometimes they confuse and misplace the word supercharger with turbocharger and turbocharger with supercharger. So in this video I am going to make sure that your fundamentals are clear regarding turbocharger and supercharger. So after watching this video, I assure you that all your ideas will be clear regarding turbocharger and supercharger. So guys, stick on to me till the end of this video, and this video is going to really help you out. The function of turbocharger and supercharger are one and the same, that is to increase the power, that is the horsepower of the engine. That is, they boost in more amount of air to the combustion chamber so that more amount of fuel can be burned in, and obviously it will increase the horsepower of that particular engine. The turbocharger uses the exhaust gas to power the exhaust turbine. So once the exhaust turbine starts rotating, the compressor, which is fitted on the same shaft, that is mounted on the same shaft, will also start to rotate. Once the compressor side start to rotate, the compressor pulls in more amount of air to the scavenge manifold via air cooler. So once it passes through the air cooler, the density of that particular scavenger is increased drastically. So once density is increased, it passes through the scavenge manifold to the combustion chamber. This particular fuel and air mixture burns and produces an enormous amount of power, bang on the piston. Whereas supercharger is dependent on the main engine to move it. The movement may be via the belt driven or gear driven. So you can say that ultimately it's main engine who is powering the supercharger. As the supercharger gets power from the main engine, the compressor starts rotating, and once the compressor starts rotating, it pulls in more amount of air, and the air along with the fuel burns in the combustion chamber, giving a bang to the piston, that is the power or expansion, and the piston goes down. So now talking about turbocharger, about the advantage and efficiency point of view is that the exhaust gas which is going to be wasted, that is the waste heat of the exhaust gas in this particular turbocharger is being utilized, while in supercharger it is not being utilized, it is just being thrown outside. While in this particular turbocharger we are using the waste heat to actual usage so that it can rotate the exhaust turbine, while it is not the same case in the supercharger. Supercharger uses the drive from the crankshaft or maybe camshaft via belt driven or gear driven. The introduction of this turbocharger, manufacturers often take advantage of the turbocharger system so as to downsize the size of the main engine. They can still make enormous amount of horsepower from this particular turbocharger, so it doesn't make impact. The size of the main engine is reduced, less suffocating mass, less moment of inertia. So it's basically a really advantage for the manufacturer, as the size of the engine is compacted, the mass is reduced, less moment of inertia, so obviously it's really good news for the manufacturer. So we can say that turbocharger is really helpful for the manufacturer, as it enormously increases the efficiency and power, that is the horsepower of the main engine with compact size. Talking about the advantage of the supercharger, there is no lag, that is, it has nothing to do in connection with the exhaust gas. Once you increase the RPM of the main engine, the compressor also starts rotating. As the compressor starts rotating, it pulls in more amount of boost air and provide for the combustion chamber. So as you increase the RPM, the amount of boost air rushing into the combustion chamber also increases. If you reduce the RPM, the amount of boost air reduces to the combustion chamber and less amount of power is being produced. It have only to do in connection with the RPM of the main engine, as the drive is taken from either crankshaft or camshaft. It have nothing to do in connection with the exhaust gas. So there is no lag. Once you increase the RPM, boom, you get the power. Once you reduce the RPM, less amount of scavenged air gets into the combustion chamber and less amount of power is being produced. And there is no lag for the supercharger. Once you increase the RPM, you get the result at that particular moment. Talking about the turbocharger, the disadvantage of turbocharger is turbo lagging. You need to produce certain velocity of exhaust gas so as to bring in the scavenged air through the compressor side to the combustion chamber, and it is not possible during the initial time, that is the engine is not rotating at a particular speed. The speed of the engine during the initial time is very slow. As the speed of the engine is slow, the exhaust gas velocity is also low, and it is not able to drive in the exhaust turbine. As it is not able to drive in the exhaust turbine, the boost air will not be able to come into the combustion chamber. The compressor is also not rotating at a particular speed as the exhaust velocity is not high. Once the speed of the main engine start increasing, the RPM of the engine start increasing, it produces certain velocity of exhaust gas which is able to drive in the exhaust turbine side, and once the exhaust turbine side rotates, the compressor which is mounted on the same shaft will also start to rotate, and it brings in more amount of boost air. The main engine is started during the initial time, the auxiliary blower come into action. The auxiliary blower really helps in providing the boost air or the scavenged air necessary for the combustion in the main engine. So you can say that during the initial time, the auxiliary blower really helps the main engine to produce the boost air. So once certain RPM is achieved, that is the threshold level of the exhaust gas is achieved, the turbocharger comes into action. While in supercharger there is no lagging. You immediately increase the RPM, you get in the result, that is the boosting of air. Once you get the boosting of air, you get the bang on the piston, that is the power. Now talking about the disadvantage of the supercharger. The main disadvantage of the supercharger is that we really take the energy from the main engine to spin in the compressor side. So once the energy from the main engine is taken, the HP, that is the horsepower of the main engine, is reduced. Even though you bring in the boost air to the combustion chamber and produce certain power, there is always loss of power in the supercharger system. While in turbocharger, we make use of the exhaust gas velocity and waste heat from the exhaust gas to rotate the turbine side. Even though in supercharger we bring in more amount of boost air, logical point of view, the efficiency is not too good. Adding to the disadvantage of the supercharger is that the size of the main engine will be huge and there will be suffocating mass. As the mass of the main engine increases, the moment of inertia also increases. So manufacturer always prefer turbocharger. Even though turbocharger have turbo lagging, the manufacturer will always go for turbocharger system. As turbocharger makes use of the exhaust gas velocity and exhaust gas waste heat. Here the waste heat recovery is done. So rather than wasting the exhaust gas, we are using the exhaust gas to drive in the exhaust gas turbine side. So even though there is lagging, there is no point in denying the fact that turbocharger is always recommended by the manufacturer. From this video we can come to a conclusion that from the efficiency point of view, turbocharger is really good. From lagging point of view, that is the response time, the supercharger is good. Obviously everyone will be going for turbocharger as you require more efficient main engine. So every owner and every manufacturer will always go for turbocharger. Even though in the earlier time, about 25 to 30 years ago, we were using supercharger. But now the supercharger usage is very rare. You may find very rare engine in which the supercharger is being used. So basically this video was made to make you aware the difference between supercharger and turbocharger, the advantage and disadvantage. I hope this video was really useful for you guys. Guys, if you have not subscribed my channel, do subscribe my channel and press on the bell icon for future notification. And yeah guys, please do comment below in the comment section, as your comment is really helping me out and really helping me out to improvise my YouTube channel and videos. So guys, thank you and have a nice day. Stay safe.